Hi friends and happy Halloween! Thank you to everyone who voted on what subject I should cover for this year's Halloween special. I asked if you would rather tour the Winchester Mystery House or the Lost Boys filming location. It was unanimous! So get cozy and enjoy as I explore Santa Cruz, California and the filming locations of the 1987 cult classic, The Lost Boys.
You'll never grow old, Michael. And you'll never die. Be one of us.
Dad.
You know where Hudson's Bluff is? I can't beat your bike. You just have to try and keep up.
It's blood.
Michael, 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 Michael. Now you know what we are. Now you know what you are.
Help me!
Stay back! Stay back!
Help me!
My own brother, a vampire. You wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
You don't want to miss this.
I am so excited to take you on this tour because Santa Cruz is my hometown. I was born and raised here, and I remember when the movie was being filmed. Let's start off on West Cliff, where Sam and Michael, along with their mother Lucy, drives into Santa Cruz. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, Santa Carla. At the time, Santa Cruz would not approve the movie if they used the town's real name because they didn't want to be associated with teen violence. Coincidentally, at the time, Santa Cruz had a growing teen homelessness problem. When Michael sees the Santa Carla sign, he notices it says Murder Capital of the World on the back, which is actually the nickname for Santa Cruz in the 1970s, due to the gruesome crimes perpetrated by 3 serial killers. So this is the driveway that Michael, Lucy, and Sam drive up on the way to Grandpa's house. Michael was on his motorcycle and Sam and Lucy were driving that incredible SUV, early SUV. I don't know what kind of car it was, but I look at that movie now and think, wouldn't that be such a cool camper, road tripper, van lifer situation? And here we are, friends. Grandpa's house. God, doesn't it just look so familiar? I mean, in the movie, his house was a little bit disheveled. And it certainly is in this sort of state of resting decay, I think. It so adds to the spookiness of the situation. It's absolutely, it's wonderful. It is really wonderful. All right, that was the front step or the patio where they first find Grandpa laid out on the deck sleeping, but of course we all think he's dead because the vampires got him.
Dad? Dad?
Looks like he's dead.
This was originally the Pogno, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it was a women's clubhouse for golf and was eventually turned into a polo club for women. And now the city of Santa Cruz owns it, along with 640 acres surrounding this clubhouse. Unfortunately, like I said before, it is in a state of resting decay, which is so unfortunate because I bet that the inside of it is absolutely stunning, or it was when it was a women's clubhouse. Women, especially in the early 20th century, do not have a whole lot of historic sites that are dedicated just to them and just to their history. And it is unfortunate that this site has been left in such a state of disrepair. It would be so nice to see it rebuilt and the history of women in 1909 in the Santa Cruz area restored. It's time to make our way down to the wharf and to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, where most of the movie takes place. Fun fact, the Vampire Cave and the infamous bridge were filmed in Southern California, so we will not be going to those locations today. Before we do a little walking tour on the wharf and on the beach boardwalk, I wanted to just discuss the Atlantis comic book store. I did not take a whole lot of footage in there because it was quite busy, and because I don't personally like it when I'm in a store and somebody has their camera on filming me. I believe in consent when filming people, and it didn't feel like the type of place where I could just whip out my camera and start filming whatever the hell I wanted. So I kept my camera, my phone, in my pocket and had the most fabulous conversation with the people who worked there. Yo, this is just, it's such a blessing to be able to go into a place that you are so excited about, that brings you so much joy, and everybody who works there is also really excited about it. Both of the people that were working at the counter were telling me that they have people coming in daily to talk to them about Lost Boys. And I just think that that is fantastic. They were giggling and laughing and just really making me feel like I wasn't a complete moron or freak for coming in and saying, "Oh my God, this is the place where the Lost Boys were filmed." No, they were so cool. So just a little bit of backstory. If you've seen the movie, this is the comic book store where Sam meets the brothers, who I can't remember what they're called right now, but Corey Haim and the other guy, and they are looking at the comic books about vampires, right? And Corey Haines tells, is it Haynes or Fellman? I don't remember which one is which. The one with the brown hair tells the one with the blonde hair that he needs to watch out because there's vampires about, and he hands them a comic book to read. He hands Corey or Sam a comic book to read to educate him on what's going on in the city. And this is not an episode of Stupid I Spend My Money On, by the way, because this is not stupid, in my opinion. However, in this comic book store, Atlantis Comics, they sell a replica of the comic book that Corey gives to other Corey in order to find out more about the vampires in the area. So I got this today. I don't know why. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. But as you know, I do collect books from places that I visit. And this is, I'm just going to call this the book that I've collected in Santa Cruz. I also, and again, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this because I'm not the type of person who wears pins anywhere. But I did a little pin shopping. This one is amazing. Hey, oh. And then, of course, I had to get the movie poster. I had the most massive crush on Michael. Woo! He was so cute in 1987. I don't know what he looks like now, but he was damn fine then. And this was during the time where vampires were scary AF. And everybody had a crush on Michael, the good guy, and not the scary vampires. Things have changed. I'm not quite okay with it. I like scary vampires. I don't like vampires who sparkle in the sunlight. So, yeah, enough said. I think that we're ready to go on this little walking tour. I'm going to find quarters because apparently it's 1992 and that's how we pay for parking here in Santa Cruz. So I'm going to dig around and find some quarters so we can get on the wharf and then on the boardwalk. And I have decided that this will not only be a walking tour of the filming locations for Lost Boys, but also a little throwback into my childhood and my young adulthood when I spent all of my summers and birthdays on the wharf and at Cal's Beach surfing and flirting with boys, or at least trying to. I was rather awkward. But anyway, this will be a really, really fun little walking tour, and I'm excited to take you along with me. I spent so much time on this beach as a child. My sister and I were in junior lifeguards here on Cowles Beach, and of course over there in that cove we would surf, and right here on the boardwalk, the lifeguard tower right there, there was one very scary moment in my life where we jumped off the top of that into the water as part of our lifeguard training. And it doesn't look very high now that I'm an adult, but as a kid it might as well have been, you know, a trillion feet up in the air. That's the Dream Inn, where all of my friends and I would go after all of the proms and dances and cause all kinds of mayhem. It used to be a really rundown hotel that was really cheap and in walking distance of the event center, and now apparently it is very posh and expensive, and that's unnerving to me. I mean, good for them, but weird. And that is the Lord, I don't remember what it was called, but it's an old dance hall from the 1930s or 40s, and the roof opens up, and that's where we had all of our proms while we were in high school, right on the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. One of the only time the characters are on the wharf is when Lucy goes to the video store to find a job. This video store never existed, but the storefront does. It is a souvenir shop and always has been, or at least as long as I can remember.
My name's Max.
I'm Lucy.
How are you?
Hello.
That's my dog, Thorn.
Hi, Thorn.
Say hello, Thorn. Well, how may I help you this evening? We have it all. The best selection of videotapes in Santa Carla.
No, actually, I'm not looking for a tape. What I need is...
A job?
Way over there is the parking lot where the security guard gets killed in the first scene, or one of the first scenes. There's now a bunch of buildings right here, which weren't here the last time I was. This, of course, is the Carousel. And then here, which says Boardwalk because this is the Boardwalk, but in the movie it says something different. Here is the Carousel. Again, I spent so much of my childhood on this thing. You could grab rings and toss them into this, I don't know, little game, and we would just spend so much time grabbing those little gold or brass rings and tossing them. I always thought about keeping one and never did, and now I kind of wish I had. And this gold gate or orange gate is what's left of what used to surround the Carousel. This is important because in the movie you can see the vampires up against this fence. It used to, like I said, it used to surround the entire Carousel, and now this is what's left of it. And right outside the Carousel, where these bike things are, right here, was where the vampires, or the Lost Boys, parked their motorcycle. Unfortunately, the boardwalk is closed for this season, but this is where, like I said, I spent my entire childhood. That's the Haunted Castle, oop, right there. And then the Big Dipper is on the other side of that. Two rides that I frequented. Is that right? I don't know. To be fair, I was really too scared to go on both of them, but, you know, when there's boys involved, you gotta go. So I did. I did a lot of stupid things because boys were involved. In the movie, this fine gentleman is featured up in the, right there, in that little sky cart thing. It's featured in the movie and when the boys, Sam and Michael, are walking up the boardwalk. Now, I have been on this thing 1,000 times because again, I was raised here, and it is sketchy AF. It swings. It is not, I mean, nobody's ever died of this that I know of, but it is not my favorite secure, safe place, if you know what I mean. I'd much rather go on the Big Dipper. Okay, so when I was a kid, there was a stage on the beach where they would have performers and movie nights and things like that, and it was right by the pirate ship, and it's not there anymore. So this would have been the scene where the guy with the saxophone, need I say more, is playing, and Michael sees Star for the first time. But it's not here anymore. Right behind me here are the steps that Michael and the Lost Boys rode down on the motorcycle. There was a bonfire scene. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't it seem like there were more steps in the movie? There's only 5 here today. I didn't cover every single filming location today, just the highlights. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it's time for me to get back on the road and to my next adventure. But before I go, I want to leave you with some trivia and personal stories. For example, this was the first of 9 successful movies the 2 Coreys would co-star in. The Lost Boys, named after the Lost Boys in Peter Pan because they never age because they're, spoiler, vampires, was filmed in Santa Cruz in 1987, I believe. I was 9 years old when it was being filmed, and I remember the big howdy-do about it. Everybody was very excited about the movie being filmed, and I remember lights and cameras and roads being blocked off and articles in newspapers being written, and everybody was very excited about the video or the movie being created, made, whatever. I remember my parents taking me to go see the filming locations, or at least filming locations adjacent. Of course, we weren't allowed to get very close to that, and we certainly didn't know what the film was about. We just knew that they were making a movie. When it finally came out, I was too young to go see it, and my parents thought better of it, which was probably good because I'm sure it would have scared the living hell out of me. When I finally did see it, maybe I was 13, and I think I went over to a friend of mine's house. She had rented it on VHS, and we were watching it. And I got to the point where Michael is eating the rice and it turns into maggots, and I was done, no thank you, goodbye, and didn't end up watching it again until I was in my 20s, which by that point I had seen enough, and it was more campy than it was scary. And the second time that I watched it and I finally got through the whole thing, I absolutely fell in love with 80s horror and just dove down the rabbit hole. Oh my god, look at this pumpkin. Did you see it? Ah! Anyway, I dove down the rabbit hole of all 80s horror, and I have been absolutely, I don't want to say obsessed, but I just love it. I love it year round. In fact, one of my favorite Christmas movies is Gremlins. Also Die Hard. So anyway, it wasn't just a movie that was fantastic. It was a movie that was a big part of my childhood, and it was a big part of my memory of something that was really special in my childhood, and that was something that was special as far as where I was raised. So with that in mind, I have no idea how I am going to get through editing this cluster of a video. But if you've made it to the end, thank you so much. I appreciate you all incredibly. If you keep finding yourself back at this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. It helps other people find the content, which really helps me out as far as being able to continue to make this content. I have an amazing group of patrons. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Your contributions absolutely help me get on the road and stay on the road. If you would like to financially contribute to this channel, you can do so. I will link it in the description below. I hope you guys all have a very safe and very festive Halloween. I hope that you tap into your inner child and you get dressed up and you eat something fun. Maybe you watch a scary movie. Maybe you watch Lost Boys. Either way, I hope you enjoy yourself. And again, thank you so much for joining me on another amazing adventure.